time, your gateway to the world. A-F-R! American Freedom Radio. Give it to them.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here. Happy Thursday, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Hope you had an amazing day. I am excited to announce this is the first time I've had a real live mic here in, we'll just call it a studio, so woohoo! Hope this all works and takes care of some of the sound issues that I've been having lately. So, I don't know. Let me know. But it is Thursday, so you know who is here to join us. St. Toby One Kenobi, otherwise known as Tobias Lars. He is a personal awakening coach or a soul counselor and the author of one of my favorite books, Listening to the Sun and Awakening Souls. His website is soulcounseling.com. He is also the creator of... let's see. Yeah, I think I am back.
You are back.
Woohoo! All right. Okay, so just lost me for a moment here. Wasn't the mic, but yeah. Anyways, he's the creator of Course of Awakening, which you can find at courseofawakening.com, a series of just hardcore yet gentle spiritual awakening videos, and also the home of his teleconferences. If you're not able to see him live in person, you can join him on a teleseminar Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And tonight we have a big topic. We're going to talk about the use and misuse of alchemical and magical symbols in harnessing and controlling spirits, entities, jinns, etc. Did King Solomon bind spirits that helped him lift the rocks to build his temple, trapping and directing energy with sigils, symbols, and stones? Is that good or bad? What's the angelic language and where did it come from? Hexagrams, pentagrams, tetragrammatons, and any other ton you can think of. What about dream catchers? Yeah, we hear they're nice, but what about demon traps? Are they not nice? And I did put an image of the Led Zeppelin 4 album here, and we're going to kind of talk about those symbols, what they were doing here. Now, if you have any questions or comments tonight, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you'd like to join us on the text chat, that's over at souljourneysradio.com or Soul Journeys, depending on what part of the world you're listening from, Sylvia. But I think we've got it all here. Do we have a Toby in the house?
Yeah.
Yay! How you doing tonight, Toby?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hanging it. Probably better than you by the sound of that.
Perfunctory introductions. Yay, let's do those. I've not been drinking. Don't worry, I'll behave myself.
Tell us how bad your day was.
No, it's fine. It's normal human stuff. What's the big deal? Who cares what your day is like? It has nothing to do with that. Oh, look at this. I love it.
I care.
I missed it. My Course of Awakening page, the Tobias Lars Facebook page, just has 667 likes. We just missed the magic evil number 666. Aww.
How'd you do that?
Because, you know, we have collective beliefs about things like this, which we're going to talk about tonight.
I was stuck on 666 for like a year. I had to beg my mom to, like my page so I could get past that 666. I haven't talked to her in 7 years, but I'm like, Mom, do you remember me? I really need your help here. Sign up on Facebook just to hit this button.
That's funny. I love it.
Yeah, it'd be funnier if it was true.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you don't talk to your mom. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. By the way, you don't have to become a social outcast like Christie and I, where our moms hate us. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. This can be done relatively gentle. Most of the planet is waking up actually very... Well, I can't say that. We're avoiding World War III, but we're having personal meltdowns, personal Armageddons, personal crashing.
Oh, speak for yourself.
Of our old systems and those around us. Gee, will the government actually disappear altogether? And that is a reflection. I can hear that echo for sure. The government quitting is an outer reflection of your own inner repressive control of yourself quitting. So it's a good thing, in my book.
Yeah, it is. I can see that.
Fears and so forth. But anyway, that's funny. So on my Tobias Lars page, 667 likes. I was like, oh, come on, I missed it. Oh, I wanted to see my triple numbers. All numbers are good. All things are good. All things are made from source energy. Therefore, we ascribe good and evil, knowledge of good and evil, to things. And since we are in a divided and fallen creation currently on Earth, have been for the remembered, or rather dismembered history that we have been living in for the last, 12,500 years. So yeah, but I'm here, and yeah, what's wrong with you? This is a serious subject. People are going to be scared of this.
If they only knew what happens pre-show. We'll just leave it at that. Tobias is here.
I sent you a text. You didn't get it, though, probably. But anyway.
Oh, you on my phone?
Yeah, because I was in the car. I was
driving. Yeah, that's what happens for having my ringer off most of the time. Oh, I'm checking my text now.
That's all right. But anyway, I was here at 5:01, so you can't give me any BS about me being late. You were still going through your introduction. I'm on time.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Always right on time. Hey, good news, Toby. I have a real mic now.
Oh, good. Is that why you're having so much trouble? I'm sorry.
I hope, man. That was the whole goal. What do you think? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great. You sound good.
All right. So no more trouble.
Except for that annoying inquisitor part of yourself.
Yeah, I know. I understand. But that's why you keep coming back. You're a glutton for punishment.
I'm going to get you mad at me before I'm done.
I double dog dare you to try. Oh, speaking of which, you know that video or the show we did a year or two ago or something, the Fun and Ego Games on planet Earth, and the only show that we had ever at least partially scripted, where we decided to just, put out an example. So I don't know if you've all heard this show. I'll post it in the chat. But we ended up, basically having a fight on air.
Something like what? You're an egotistical bitch, and, don't tell me if I should be here on time. Don't be in my business.
Yeah, like, why don't you start your own show?
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you hang up and we go to... or actually, you didn't hang up. That was a lie, too. We totally, like I said, we scripted that part of the show. Well, people were listening to the archive recently, and they put all these comments. They only got through the first segment, and they're like, how ironic. You guys are talking about this, and now you're fighting. This is just ridiculous. And
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God. So I just had to kind of laugh, and it's like, well, I hope you listened to the whole show, So I guess a couple of them came back, but yeah, I'm going to find this right now. And then we did get good comments, yes, that was very instructive. Thanks so much, and blah, blah, blah. But how else are we going to learn if not by example or experience, right?
I think we did a good job. Basically, so yeah, everybody listening, we did a show about how we trip each other's egos, which basically, project the crap on each other, and we end up F you and F you too, and I'm glad I never see you again. And, that when you get angry at someone, that symbol in Japanese, I forget which way it is, but it's either the symbol for anger has the small symbol for truth in it, or the symbol for truth has the small symbol of anger in it. In anger, we finally let it rip and say, hey, tell me what you really feel, Yes. And, or in vino veritas, meaning you get drunk enough, you start telling truth, right? In vino veritas, the truth is in the vino. And so, Christine, I did a show on that, and we said, well, how can we demonstrate this? Let's just have a full-on fight on the air where we end up, triggering each other and then really truth-telling and calling each other on it. And we did pretty good because obviously people believed it, so that was pretty good. I
think everyone but one person in the chat believed it while it was live. I don't remember all the comments exactly, but they're like, oh my God, what's going on? Christie and Tobias fighting? What? I don't see any of that in any of these people. And some people wanted to leave and maybe perhaps even did leave, but it's the comments on YouTube on the archives. They're all freaking out till they get 20 minutes into it and find out that, yep, we're a bunch of jokesters. Oops, sorry.
But isn't that a great way? And we will get to the topic of sigils.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Misuse and of magical symbols and so forth. But, I had an idea when a few decades ago. Oh, no, when I was going to do a band, Part of the show, what we would do with the band was actually play with people's heads like that. At the end of the show, we would do this show of praying to the credit card and a flaming X, a mock human sacrifice. I mean, it's like Marilyn Manson type stuff, but even more engaging the audience mentally, in a sense. And I remember at the end of the whole show, so imagine you're just an X, you're crucified like Jesus, but it's on an X. This is kind of the opening of the show. And then one long segment is the worship of money. I would actually rewrite the Our Father into, we were praying to money, in God we trust, in gold we trust, cash, praying to the credit card. I get the whole audience to pray to the MasterCard, And we would do it as a ritual show to expose, to bring it up. You got to bring it up. See, talking about it is one thing, but if you actually do it, people feel it. And so, and at the end of the whole show, what I was going to do, I say, hey, guys, I love you. Thanks for participating. I know we're kind of far out, and that you guys get it is really awesome, blah, 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 right? And then I would go, now, listen, to every town we go, we like to help people, and we're surviving and appreciate you guys coming and paying for the show and blah, blah, blah. But we do a little collection right here at the end of the show. Whatever you can give, just $1, a couple $5, $10, $20, $20, it's going to go to this person, this woman. We met her as we were traveling into town. She's homeless. She's got 2 little girls, and whatever you guys can give. I really appreciate it. And I would do it really sincerely from my heart. I can hear the echo. And then after we collected the money, I would count it in front of the audience. Maybe we would get I don't know, $500, $1,300, something like that. A significant chunk of money for an individual. And then what I would do is I would have the little pillar come out with a little bowl. I would put the money in the bowl. I would set it on fire.
Wow.
So I would betray the audience on purpose.
This is a true story?
No, this is what I wanted to do. Until God said, do you actually still want to live in this body, Tobias? Because, you're going to piss people off a lot. But nah. And then I would say, well, how do you feel now? You worship money. You worship money. We all worship money. But me saying that is very different than you gave up your hard-earned $10 and I set it on fire. That's a demonstration. A demonstration. Notice the demonstration, the first few letters spell demon. Wow. You ever notice that? A demonstration. Not till tonight. A demonstration brings it makes it real. Now, I'm not trying to do it to be cruel. I'm trying to surface our programming. And I don't say money is evil per se. In my book, I have a chapter called Now I'm Being the Nicer Guy in the book. You know, in the Listening to the Sun book, I say, exchange our money with love. Let's exchange our money with love. And I write about an experience I had where Spirit was teaching me there's nothing inherently evil in anything. It's all just what we ascribe to it. But anyway, in that same spirit of you and I on that show demonstrating what we were actually talking about, you know, it has a much bigger impact. I remember one time in front of a group of people, I felt like, you know, you're worshiping this tissue paper. I love Jesus. Jesus and I have I was just telling someone the other day, you know, I've talked to Jesus several times, and before you think I'm crazy, you know, this is something we can all do.
Yes.
He's a real being, and I grew up in a very repressed, white Anglo-Saxon, Swedish, English prep school.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Our very special guest, and I'm talking special like the back of the short bus special, Tobias Lars, who's always here on time.
She offends me. She makes fun of me. Unbelievable, man.
We're talking about demon traps tonight, so I'm just playing my role. And
right,
yes, that is the topic. Magical symbols, alchemical symbols, sigils, symbol stones, and all of that. Is it good or bad? What's going on with it? Does it really have any power over us or not? Again, if you would like to join us for the chat, that's over at Soul Journeys Radio. .com. And speaking of demon traps, Tobias, you left off sharing with us your proposed demonstration.
Okay, now so we don't scare people. We're not practitioners of this. This is to demystify this, to not have it scare us. Because basically whenever something is in the dark, Halloween coming up, then it can scare you because it's the unknown, the strange, the surprise. Like, boo, yeah, Christie, you just did it. So this occult is simply a word that means occluded. An occlusion in your diamond means there's a piece of blackness in there. This is not preferred by young women getting married. They would
I like spots. Why not?
They like their diamonds to be clear. So the word occult literally, of course, just means hidden in the dark. And all things are meant to come to light, is the way Jesus would say it. He says, all things shall come to light. Meaning light is really all there is. The energy, the consciousness is created from the nothingness. From the 0 point, consciousness first arises. From consciousness, let there be light. And we then play a game of knowledge of good and evil, of hiding things in the dark, because it's fun. We play hide and seek as kids. You know, we play games. We play cosmic games. We play roles. And so this is what we've been doing. And playing with energy and entities and so forth is, of course, possible. And so we're going to try to demystify it. So there's not so much fear about it, because at this time on Earth, the whole progress of we're moving into this new yuga, this new time frame, this new age. You know, that term new age is not so exciting anymore because everything gets misused and co-opted. But just like the Greeks have the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, the Silver Age, the Golden Age, so do the Hindu structure, so do many different native people around the world. There's certain cycles that go on. The cycle the Earth is in right now is where things are going to surface and come to light. That which has been hidden has to come out. Now, whether that's in your personal, if you're noticing in your personal lives, that's subconscious stuff that has been hidden in the subconscious, meaning it's unconscious, is starting to come out in people. And, quote, that can be a lot of purging, a lot of purgatory. You know, when we do ayahuasca ceremonies, when basically you spend the first ceremony or two, or parts of each ceremony, purging in purgatory, because this cleaning needs to happen. So that's what's happening on the Earth right now. So this stuff that has been hidden in the dark, I heard a saying that Spirit shared with me years ago, why is there a power in the black? Because that's where we, as God spirits, as pieces of God's source, don't you know you are gods? That's where we left it. We left the power in the black. It's our power. It's nothing to be scared of. It's like people being scared of their own shadow. The other night, I'm outside. There was enough moonlight. It's very bright here in Arizona. The sky is very clear. That Gabby saw my shadow. I was watering the bushes, you know, with good stuff. Come on, the citrus
and
tree
what
is
was that good stuff,
The
Toby?
citrus tree is a baby. It needs some nutrients. Hello. So I was out doing that at night, and Gabby saw my shadow. Gabby, our 10-month-old little golden retriever, saw my shadow on the wall of the fence, and she started barking, and she got her hair up in hackles because she was barking at the shadow, right? Because we imagine all kinds of stuff. It is really all good energy. It is all God energy. It is all oneness. The rest is we ascribe things, the knowledge of good and evil, to it. So I want people to know, you know, I don't know the details of the Necronomicon. I know that it exists. I know that some of the fallen angels have certain symbols that represent them. Now, there are some beings, as things divided into the good and evil thing, or you could say denied energy and open energy. See, denied energy is what causes the havoc, the mischief, because we deny it. We go, oh, no, I don't have that. That's not me. That's you.
Yeah,
see,
all you.
It's the basic psychology. It's Freud and Carl Jung. Now, Carl Jung explored it a little bit farther, the Swiss psychiatrists, right, psychoanalysts, creators of it. Now, of course, they were crazy themselves. Freud, of course, spent 10 years promoting and touting the wonders of cocaine. It was a miracle drug, and he basically prescribed it to himself and all his patients for over a decade. But, you know, that's the stuff we sanitize from the history books. But Carl Jung went a little bit deeper into the symbologies, into the dream states, into recognizing synchronicities and realizing there's a huge collective oneness in all of us where we're all connected. There's a place, there's a field out there beyond the field of right and wrong. Out beyond the right and wrong, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Rumi, the saint, the famous Sufi saint mystic, says, out there beyond the ideas of right and wrong, there is a field of oneness. I'm paraphrasing or adding a little bit, editorializing. I'll meet you there. That's what our hearts, souls search for, the oneness, for many of us. But we also like the game of duality, of right and wrong. So as we've created this game of duality, we've suppressed aspects of ourselves. We've had a trauma happens. At first, the souls could slow down their vibration and materialize, but it wasn't really a materialization. We didn't have a judgment or a distinction. We didn't distinguish between physical body and spiritual body. It was all one fluid spectrum. It was a fluid spectrum, just like after really good sex or activating your energy, you start feeling very glowy and warm. The afterglow, right?
Even astral sex works.
Yeah. You said ass. All right, let's not go there. Astral. We have fun, guys. We're actually, we can be very well behaved, but who wants to be? Who cares? That sucks.
Boring. Come on. They got plenty of well-behaved shows out there, right?
It's like Wayne Dyer on PBS. It's awesome. Wayne Dyer's awesome. Deepak Chopra on PBS. It's awesome, but it's like everybody sit in your seats and behave. Be quiet. No participation. I am the authority figure. I will be up here telling you everything. Right? Anyway, I'm making fun of it a little bit. So our show, we don't do that. If people are there, if there's any new people that ever...
It's more fun to fart in church, you know?
Listen, our show. Yes, it is. I did a little breakthrough today. I was at the gym. That's why I was late because...
Did you fart? Out loud?
I fart all the time. No, not out loud because...
Oh, you chicken. Come on. I ripped a big bomb in a coffee shop in the corner in front of everyone by myself 2 feet away from the server station. And I ripped it just loud as can be, and I was proud and laughed.
Loud and
alone.
It's a new use of the loud and proud slogan. Very good.
You know, I bet you $1 million my name is on the wall, and all the new college kids that go to work there, they're like, remember that old lady that sat in the corner and ripped a big one?
The Rebel Society. We're loud and proud. We're loud. Are you gay? No. We fart in public.
Rip one in the gym. Come on, Toby. That's your goal for this week. You give us homework, I'm giving you homework. Fart in public, loud and proud, and report back.
Well, I was going to tell you what I did, because there was a woman on the treadmill, 2 women. They might have been mother and daughter, and the younger one had absolutely gorgeous legs. I mean, very muscular for a girl, but not bodybuilder muscular. But just the shape of them was like, you know, like Shakespeare says, what a form, what a god, what a beauteous form in action, the Greek statue thing. Just natural. And so I said, my natural childlike impulse was, and of course this is socially inappropriate, right? Or he's coming on to me or whatever, right? All that interpretation. And I said, I just want to tell her, your legs are beautiful, and your ass is too, but I'll just start with telling you about the legs. So then I you know, and so this is why I'm late, actually.
Now the truth comes out.
Well, whatever.
You're looking at some hot lady's legs.
Good minute. So then when I go in, and I'm going to tell her, they've left. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay. Because that sort of spirit said, tell them. And this is the brave steps, like you're talking about. You know, when spirit says, be brave to speak your love or speak your truth or whatever it is, you don't have to do it, but it's kind of fun to try, knowing that you may well totally fail and feel like an idiot and they'll think you're weird.
Throw rocks at you, point fingers, whatever, stand in line.
But so I walked outside, and there, of course, the universe had them standing right there. So I was like, perfect. So I told the girl, you know, I said, listen, you know, so I tell you, don't be scared, you know. Last time I did this with a woman in the parking lot about something up in Sedona, she was like freaking out, like I was going to attack her or something. You know, this was a woman who had written on the back of her car, spirit readings, you know, and then she had a license plate that had a certain combination of numbers that were very significant for the person I was talking to on the phone. So it was just one of those synchronicities, coincidences. I said, I got to get a picture, but then she was going to leave, so I ran out of the car and go, wait, before you leave, I got to get a picture. And she's like, why? And I could tell my energy was too big. It was too strong, like invasive, a bit trespassing, you know. So anyhow, so I told the girl, I said, listen, don't feel weird about it. Don't be scared, you guys. Your legs are beautiful. I just want to tell you, you have beautiful legs, and I'm not trying to come on to you. I'm just telling you because that's what I wanted to do. And they were cool. It was great. They were like, oh, thank you. That was really cool, you know, and I just left it at that. Felt really good. So, I did do a little bravery today at the gym. I didn't.
So you made it out without getting arrested this time?
Well, that's what I was hoping for. See, because I was like, if it's in the gym, she'll go, like, report me to the freaking manager or something. Or even more scary, she goes, oh, really? Anyhow. Yeah, so I was being brave. I felt good. It felt really good. You know, just do your thing. Tell your stuff. And it's an art form of it being appropriate, you know what I mean? Because you can... You know, you can push boundaries, obviously, that, you know, make people feel very uncomfortable. But anyhow. So how do we get on this? No.
I have no idea. Somebody said fart, I think. I don't remember.
You started going about farting in public or something.
It's those dumb jokes. Potty humor. You got to get a little potty humor in church. Actually, now I remember. That's how. You said something about us not being... boring and bland and listen to me. Shut up, children. Take notes.
All right.
We're having fun.
Let's go back to what the transmission wants to happen today. It feels like for me. So this shadow side of ourselves, like that's a shadow side. It's a good one. I want to tell people you're beautiful. Oh, you know, thank you for being, like in restaurants, I'll say to people sometimes, or whatever comes up spontaneously, but I found myself saying things like, thanks for being nice. You know, when it's sincere, I'm not trying to, you know, thanks for being nice today. I know it's not always easy. And it's always an appropriate thing you can say to people. There's something you can say. You don't have to, but it feels good sometimes, and it makes people feel good. It worked with the women. They just felt like, oh, that's really nice, you know, because that's kind of fun when someone does that for you without there being any creepy attached energy. You know, it could go wherever it goes, but you don't have any ulterior agenda particularly. You're just being real, being spontaneous. It's kind of fun, you know. That is, by the way, non-occult sharing, meaning we're not doing it in the dark. I'm not doing it for any particular reason, except that's what felt spontaneously, naturally enjoyable to do. You know?
Satsang.
Satsang?
Yeah, why not? Well, we got to put a label on everything. That's right.
So what's happened on Earth, because as we separate, as the spirit could change in and out of physical form, it was just a sliding scale of energy. We literally could be more, quote, physical and then more just energy. We could slide in and out of this scale. This is the stairway to heaven. This is literally Jacob's ladder, the different frequencies. We can change frequency, and it's not distinct jumps. It's not quantum jumps. It's more a sliding scale for humans. You know, when we upgrade or move our energy. Like I was saying about sex, you know, after good sex or good moving your energy in any way, a good run or whatever, playing with your dog, you know, your energy feels lighter. You are actually upgrading the frequency. You are upping the frequency.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Yo, what's up? Check this out. The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Welcome back. I just have to say, I love you guys in the chat. I swear to God. Tobias is pretty cool, but you really, really make the show. So, Yes, thank you all for being here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. And if you would like to join our happy little soul family, you can go to the chat at SoulJourneysRadio.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And Tobias, are you done eating?
I'm unmuted and I've finished eating.
Nice. All right. So can we get to the show now?
Mm-hmm. If you stop bringing up farting and stuff, we can actually...
But it's fun. It's almost as fun as wearing a robe in public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wearing your robe in public. Okay, no, seriously, we actually do have a topic tonight. Sigils, symbols, and stones.
We were on it. So we were entreeing into it about the dark. We have relegated aspects of ourselves into the subconscious. And Jung was onto this, Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst, Freud's protege, or the next phase of him. And so we've suppressed these things as the spirit we lost the ability to phase shift, shape shift, literally. Now, some shamans can still do it. Up on Navajo Hopi land, where we go a few times a year, it still occurs, the skinwalkers. And mostly now it has degenerated into black magic, ritual, animal sacrifice and stuff like that. See, native traditions are not all happy, happy, sweetie, sweetie. A lot of people think, oh, let's go native and it's all so beautiful, the Incas and the Mayas and the Hopis. Yes, and there's also, quote, a dark side to all of it, You go do ayahuasca, if you fly down to Iquitos, Peru, you've got to have your wits about you because now it's so popular and the money factor reaches in that there's a lot of misuse of it now, And there always has been the dark brujos and so forth. Now, misuse, ultimately, it's all just part of the game. I understand that. But if you're not interested in actually being mind-controlled or, having entities put into your body or umbilical cords and hooks and attachments and darts and things like that, a la voodoo. Voodoo works, all that
Let
stuff.
me ask you this, Tobias. I was having a conversation recently where, I've expressed before that I used to believe that if you don't believe in that stuff or pay it any attention, you can't be affected by it. And, the reason I found out about things like astral darts or poison arrows or, is because I was hit by one and, I didn't know what it was or anything. And so there goes my search. But, I mean, do these things exist even if you don't believe in it?
Yes. Now, here's the thing.
Is it an aspect of us? Is it us that we're actually bringing it out? I mean, how could that be if we've never even heard of it or know where to pay our attention?
Right. There are layers of awareness. In other words, grades of consciousness. Some people are unconscious. If you're a conscious being, nothing gets past you. But how many beings on the planet right now are completely in touch with their subconscious and their unconscious? Hardly anybody. So that unconscious can be manipulated by someone that knows how to do that. It's called advertising, folks. Hello? And you know what I'm saying? You tap into fears and lusts, what people want and what they hope to avoid. And
okay.
Yeah. So if you're a conscious being, a Jesus Christ Babaji or, on that road, nothing can get in your subconscious and hook into you because you will catch it. You'll feel it. What was that touched me? What is that's coming at me? But if you're unconscious, obviously you're just you can be used by these energies. So, absolutely. There are layers of awareness. Now, you can also call on protection. Many spiritual people, if you call on Jesus or your guru or your teacher or Babaji or Buddha, Buddha's not that much into personal protection stuff for people, but you can call on beings, Archangel Michael, and other beings that are bigger than you that can help protect you. This is part of it as well. Ultimately, we're evolving to the place, the more you remember who you are, the more you can feel it. Like physically, your gut instinct tells you, that creepiness factor tells you, okay, there's something not right here.
Yes.
And so your chakras, your intuition, call it what you want, your gut instinct, your third ear, your sixth sense, will tell you, okay, I felt not to go into there or do it. And that many, many people will hear that. They can call it my angel warned me, or, whatever. So it does exist, but once you're at a certain level, so you can be flotsam and jetsam on the collective consciousness, and your subconscious can be misused. Now, if you are a spiritual person and you're asking for protection, you will have some guys run interference for you. Like Archangel Michael will go to this particular, someone's trying to do something to, and go, off limits, dude, and if you don't back off, I'm cutting your head off, right? So these, quote, entities that are practicing this are the dark shamans. You may not be as powerful as that dark shaman or that evil entity, quote unquote. I'm using these terms loosely again, knowing that it's a whole, ultimately it's all just an energy game. But you may not be aware of it, but you can just go, God help me, protect me. Boom! You get 10 beings show up and take care of it for you, and you never noticed. You didn't even notice. You didn't even notice. And so there we have guardian angels that are assigned to us, because basically the current state of humanity is pretty darn unconscious at this point. Most people do not see spirits. Most people do not see into the other dimensions. They can't relax their vision enough and start feeling it, seeing it. But we are in touch, but there's a lot of programming of programmed humans where we are unconscious still. And so in this unconscious, things can be, that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Think of how many people are depressed or hurt or hurting or traumatized on this planet after hundreds of thousands of years of wars and collapses of civilizations and rapes and murders and destruction and watching your children be killed. Human souls have lived through severe trauma. So we are traumatized, and we're really currently living in a police state. Really. As long as you need police with guns, you're living in a police state. And that is the current situation for most countries. There's graft and shady politics and all that. That's where we're at. And so at this point, when the separation happened of, oh, this is bad, this trauma is overwhelming me, it's too much, we wrestled our way out of our bodies, much the way you've heard me say it, Christie, but a wolf, the idea or the image of a wolf biting their paw off to get out of a trap. They get out of the trap, but they're certainly hobbled and aren't functioning, and they, are not going to do well unless somebody helps feed them, right? And the same with humans, because we were meant to, all energy was meant to be free. Now, I'm speaking ideally. This is why ascended masters, real ones, Mataji, Kuan Yin, Jesus, could turn their bodies back into light, into pure energy, which we are too. But we are toxic energies. It's just like if you've eaten toxic food, you've got heavy metals and crap and pesticides and all that the body wants to clean out. Well, when you've eaten toxic energy, you swallowed it, it got hooked into you, you're still carrying it around. That's karma or sins or core issues, energies in your system that are still trapped in you. They can all be cleaned out, but they don't go willingly. They're kind of like ticks and leeches, okay? They don't. You have to pick them off. You have to discover what it is. Yeah, people, you put the flame to a leech, it will still try to hang on as long as it can. And so some of these energies, now we can also create entities. The Goyim that the Jewish tradition talks about is this artificial entity, cyborg. They're sort of like soulless entities in a way, but that we can fill with temporary life force. These are disembodied, these can be elemental spirits that, quote, you have trapped. You can trap elementals.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules, no rules, no taboo topics, no taboo topics, no fear of doom, no fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right. Welcome back. Top of the second hour here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight with Tobias Lars, the author of Listening to the Sun and Awakening Souls, which you can find at his website, soulcounseling.com. He is a personal awakening coach and can help you with soul retrievals, and you even have an apprenticeship program on your website. You can go to soulcounseling.com, and that'll link to everything. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525, and we're talking about signs, symbols, trapping spirits is what we left off on. So, Tobias, please continue.
Did you hear my sound effects? I was trying to do the drinking stuff in the background. Did you hear that?
Oh, you cracking another beer?
Yeah, except it's...
I got a 40-ounce for you, Old English 800.
It's an apple cider that they make in Mexico. It's not an apple, a pineapple cider, a fermented pineapple cider they make in Mexico. It's awesome.
Nice.
So whenever you have a craving for like soda or something, it's basically, anyway, I can drink that. That's what I was doing. But it sounds like beer, beer bottles,
Here's my juice. Can you hear it? Probably not. Carrot, baby.
So when we cut parts of ourselves off through a trauma, we say, I can't feel that. Much like a pearl forms, there's a trauma that enters the oyster in the form of a grain of sand. So it puts these layers and layers and layers and layers of protection to keep that sand away from its soft insides. And it puts those layers of hard shell around it that become a pearl. Well, we kind of try to do the same thing as humans. We try to cut it off, like the wolf bites his paw off. But this is a abandonment of pieces of ourselves. Well, those pieces still have energy, and if we've abandoned them, they can be used by certain people. They can get a soul fragment to work for them. You can have discarnate, fragmented entities that you employ. And in some ways that this happens, and you can also do it with elemental nature spirits, the Jinn story, the Aladdin story, the 40 nights or whatever it is, Ali Baba and the 40 thieves and those stories of the Jinn. Yeah. That's real. The genie in the bottle is a real thing, the Jinn.
Yes. And
these books talk about the magic rituals you can do to bind these spirits. Now, before you guys think this is, that's so evil and not part of good religion. Really? King Solomon was called wise. That's the PR agents and the image consultants after the fact. Oh, he was wise. He was a wizard. If you Google the Lesser Key of Solomon and look at that stuff, and if you research it at all, you'll realize he was working. He would draw the pentagram on the floor, put the circle around it, put the Hebrew letters, and arrange it, working with the Tetragrammaton. These are ancient fallen arts from Egypt, which came from Atlantis. In other words, it's devolved. Usually, the master teachings are beauty, and it's for good use, and then you get the people that show up, like the imitators that want to steal the energy. So the Atlantean emerald tablets of Thoth, the instigator of these magic arts of mathematics and so forth, Hermes Trismegistus Thoth, a real being who lived in Atlantis who came to Egypt, and he's depicted as with the ibis head. As that degenerates, by the time Moses is there, it's become degenerated into power. Akhenaten is basically murdered because he tries to bring back the oneness principle, the one God, the one principle. And Akhenaten, in my view, is obviously half ET or full ET. I don't remember what star system he's from. But that gets shut down because the power greedy or these entities or that part of the human priest, the evil Egyptian priests, try to then take that power. And they kill Akhenaten, basically have him killed off, kind of like JFK, so that whoever is standing behind can keep their agenda going. And then when Moses comes along, he takes it even more further fallen magic arts with his staff and the snake and the materializing blood in the water and the plagues and all that. That's pretty nasty stuff. And he brings that to, quote, start the new land for the Hebrews, the Israel. And King Solomon comes later. He still has some of these magic arts. But by the time King Solomon is doing it, it's fallen even further into misuse. So he is actually working with like 72 disembodied entities to do his bidding. And you have to keep them in control. It's like working a tiger cage. Like old way they used to do it, horrible way in zoos, where they would have, 8 lions, and he'd have to have the whip and the chair and the gun to keep them properly in their place. Well, that's pretty much what you have to do when you start doing this stuff, because they are damaged either pieces of souls or there are elementals that are full of mischief. They will get away with whatever they can. So King Solomon, that echoes really loud on him. But King Solomon, I'll just keep talking.
Do you hear an echo?
Oh, a huge echo. I don't know if you can check in the control room, but if it doesn't, then I don't worry about it. I'll just keep doing it anyway. But so King Solomon, when he's actually building his temple, the ancient arts from Atlantis of cutting stone with sound and light and energy and floating them through certain frequencies, you degravitize things. You could float the rocks. This is how the Great Pyramid was built. It was built through this exact cutting of actually sort of lasers would be the closest thing we have today, but it has more to do with real magic, sound and intention and certain spoken words. Well, this is degenerated so far by the time it gets to King Solomon that he's literally binding these spirits, these elemental entities, and making them do his bidding to build his temple. King Solomon's temple, right? And that's what he's doing. So you can research that all on your own. I'm not saying it's all bad, but it was a fallen state. It is not the innocent state. Jesus comes later and says, look, let's try to go back to innocence, to openness, to love yourself and then love your neighbors. That's very different than wizards using these sigils, these symbols, the pentagram, the hexagram. The Jewish star is basically 2 tetrahedral pyramids that are flattened. That is the tetrahedral Merkabah, which Thoth came up with. The Merkah, spirit, the Merkabah is this artificial, in my opinion, filter it through your own systems, ascension trickery, wizardry. The real ascension happens naturally with your torus field your natural egg-shaped aura field, your heart field. But when you start doing it through the mathematical angels, a bunch of the angels that worked with the organic timeline fell. The fallen angels, about a third of them, fell. They have their own symbols. Now, symbols can be traps like jail. You know, imagine an ornate gates out of metal, but metal cages, light prisons made out of light. Now, you can do this with certain symbols. You can trap elemental spirits, or, like I said, lost pieces of humans, or full humans. You can trap full humans. It's done every day. It's called the Mormon Church, the Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, Muslim, stuff they do, Hindus, and every religion or cult programming is trapping souls into certain belief systems by heavy use of symbology and guilt and fear and terror and, you know, all that normal motivational whips that we use on each other. And so King Solomon, he didn't have his heart quite there, so he got stuck in the magic, you know. So the wisdom there had to do with wizardry. The wise men that came to visit Jesus were from Zoroastrianism, from Vedanta, from the East. What's the East? That's Persia and India. They came to offer their wizardry, their wisdom. We know our wisdom is not as powerful as the innocence of a human soul, which the true master Jeshua tried to embody and bring back and said, get rid of the Old Testament, all the old symbols and trickery and magic, and you must do the prayers this way and wear the holy vest and the raiments and the Uman and the Thuman and the jewels. That's all degenerational. It has degenerated over the generations from Atlantis. In Atlantis, it was so powerful, we sunk the whole continent. During that time, in India, for example, they discovered the city of Dwarka off the coast of northwestern India, the story of Krishna. There were radiation weapons at that time. They found places now in the Gobi Desert that obvious nuclear radiation has melted and refrozen the rocks. We used to have nuclear wars back then. And you know, some people, if you watch Ancient Aliens, they'll say, oh, it's aliens. Yeah. But they were beings living here on Earth doing this. So Egypt was the last thing from the sunken continent of Atlantis. The whole thing degenerated because the kids were playing with matches. The matches had to be taken away from the kids. And so our current system, religion, has been birthed out of this very fallen, degenerated system. And King Solomon was really about trying to learn to open his heart. Why did God try to send him 3,000 women? You know, because you need to open your heart. Quit living in the basement and doing your rituals. That's my editorialized comment, but that's really it. Jesus came later and said, you know, we need to love each other. We need to make love, and that part, of course, has been sanitized, the sexual stuff. But it is coming out that he had Mary Magdalene and had children and so forth. So you can trap the spirits through magic ritual. Here's the problem with doing that. Yogananda talks about it. There's as he's a young man in India, he visits a fakir, you know, careful with that word in English.
Is that a command?
Yeah, fakir. F-A-K-I-R, F-A-Q-U-E-R, whatever. That is the magician of the Muslim Sufi traditions. And India, of course, is both. Pakistan and all that. And then the whole war was because Muslims tend not to be very tolerant, I said it, of other religions. And neither do Christians. So they're a perfect match for each other. Hinduism tends to go, sure, come on, the more the merrier. Bring another god, we're good with it. But so that was the whole thing with the Pakistani war and the Bangladesh and all that problem that nobody remembers in the 1971, whenever it went on. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So Yogananda, as a young man, visits this fakir, this mystic, this magician, this Muslim magician, who can produce things. I mean, he can do it. He hands out like a bowl to everybody, and he says, think of what you want, whatever kind of food you want, just think of it, and it will appear in your pot. It's like a little pot, not a plate. And sure enough, it does. Now, people will go, holy cow, this guy's a powerful spiritual man. No, all he has done is imprisoned an elemental entity that he calls Hazrat. And it could be a disembodied human, I'm not sure. But this can be very real manifestation that we do as humans. This is very real.
Yeah.
It can be done. I went to seances early in my life where we would have the spirits literally drop stuff out of the ceiling. One night we had thousands of coins just dropping out of the ceiling. These are called apports. The whole spiritualism wave, I'm sounding like Bashar here. I'm like pushing this stuff, but sometimes that's what we need to do. The spiritualism wave, that's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote, Sherlock Holmes, and all that, the spiritual, Madame Blavatsky, Theosophy, don't freak out, Illuminatists and all that stuff. Yes, it can all be misused. But all that spiritualism that Houdini was interested in, and, is it fake, is it real, was very popular, and during those, quote, seances, there would be manifestations, of course. Now, I was part of that here in Arizona as a young man, and spirits would come through and talk. This trumpet, this was old-style spiritualism, old school, all right? A trumpet, which looks pretty much like a cheerleader's bullhorn, except it's much lighter, and it is made out of a very light paper, and it has like a silver covering on it. It would float by itself. I was there. I saw it around the room. And now we would have the room darkened, but there would be lights come on in the room. I checked. At first I'm like, nah, it's just a guy. The medium is just walking around with a bullhorn. So I actually got up, and I would put my hand where his body should be. I'm like testing the spirits. And I realized, no, it is just floating around the room. And voices, for each of us, we would have certain spirits talk to us. Now, Christians will freak out and go, you're consorting with devils, right? I understand the fear. And the reason that injunction needs to be there, because most people are so out of control with their own subconscious that their greed and their lust for things, money, give me the winning lottery numbers, please, disembodied spirit, right? Yeah. That's instantly what happens. So those people need strong injunctions. No, you need to go to church and be told what to do. And don't go to psychics, don't go to mediums, because you'll screw it up. Yeah. And you'll get messed up from doing it. But as you advance on this, like King Solomon was, you need to go through these gateways and do it. So, yeah, these are called apports. Now, here's the problem. When you make deals with, or you take a symbol, or you make the hexagram on the circle like King Solomon did, and you invite certain spirits in, and you bind them to yourself so they can do your bidding and control others or bring you gold and riches or whatever, right? Which Solomon did.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Welcome to the world's meeting place. American.
It's practically narcotics.
Freedom.
Oh, yes. I like very much.
Radio.
You're an American institution.
American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks again for joining us here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We are talking about the use and misuse of alchemical and magical symbols with Tobias Lars. And Tobias, you're talking a lot of truth here. You left off talking about spirits getting attached and the blowback of consorting with them. So please continue.
Right. So then remember that Fantasia movie where Mickey gets all the brooms to work for him? You know, it's a cartoon where it's in Fantasia, the Disney famous sort of experimental cartoon showing things. But Mickey Mouse is it's called The Sorcerer's Apprentice if you YouTube it. And the sorcerer has gone home, the magician, the wizard, Solomon, Merlin. And he's there cleaning up. He has to sweep and mop the floors, and then he sees the wizard's hat sitting in the corner. And cute little Mickey, of course, puts the wizard's hat with the symbols and the stars. Those are the sigils and the symbols. And then he gets all the brooms to do his bidding. The problem is he can't... So now all the brooms are carrying the mops and the buckets and the water. The brooms are helping him, or the dance of the brooms. Or and then he can't shut them off. So the whole place turns flooded because they keep bringing the water. And so that's the blowback, You have to know what you're doing, and you have to know... It's sort of like, if you get into a relationship with somebody, there's stuff attached to it.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have to get out. If you have to get out, sometimes you have to get away, and get out unharmed, right? Because we tend to attach things to each other. We literally attach energetic cords to each other. Now, in the sexuality, and there's some teachings out there that say, well, every person you've had sex with, when you have sex with a person, you'll have sex with all the other people they've had sex with too. Okay? So there'll be, that will be a teaching out there. Now, you don't have to be fanatical about it. Yes, in the sense that can be true, but if your energy is strong enough, then you don't have to have these things come into you. So that's the payoff. I'm not saying it's wrong, but if you play with this stuff unconsciously, that's when you get the payback as a bitch. You understand? When you go, oh, this is a good idea. This is the whole allegory of selling your soul to the devil. Where you go, oh, I'm willing to do it. Because most humans today still are interested in getting the winning lottery numbers. If they can have access to supernatural stuff, they want to control other humans so they can have sex with them, own them, and they want to get money. Most humans are still in arrested development for that. So therefore, we're not trustable with those levels of power. Now, so when you play with this stuff, it has repercussions. Some of the fallen angels have their own symbols. They're called sigils, S-I-G-I-L-S, or symbols for them. And it's up to you to decide if you want to interact with these angels or not. They respect free will, most of them. If you invite them, however, you're inviting them. So you want to make sure, if you go into it unconsciously, you're going to get hits. You're going to get some knocks up, you're going to get the school of hard knocks. But literally the symbols are like, imagine in light energy, these symbols. It's sort of like when fire dancers, you take a picture of a fire dancer, they're drawing in the air with a fire. The Jewish language, for instance, is not that sacred. Everyone, it's the ultimate sacred language. Well, no, not really. It's a fallen language from the angelic language. The angelic language, if you look at what some of the Pleiadians shared with Billy Meyer, that symbols are the exact same symbols. There's an ET language that has become, quote, an angelic language that then degenerated into what became a Hebrew language, and other languages too. But before we assign, anytime you assign too much power to an outside source, you're doing idolatry, meaning You're putting the power that is in you. Don't you know you are God's? I am the way. I am that I am. The I am. Learning kingdom of heaven is within. You got to find yourself. Who am I? Ramakrishna has his students ask. Find out where you are connected to the source of all inside yourself. So anytime you place the power outside yourself, you're going to have spiritual physics repercussions. Nothing wrong with it per se, but if you bind entities to you, they're going to hang around you. And if they're going to ask for food, they're going to ask for directions. It's, once you attach someone to yourself or some energy to yourself, you have to feed it. It's like if you get a dog, you got to take care of it. Well, if you get a demon, you got to take care of it too.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can do that. They'll do things for you, but they're going to require maintenance.
I know people that actually claim that they work with demons, and just like you said, that they get them to do things for them and make sure that, they can do whatever they want and not get in trouble for it, or if they do, then the demon fixes it for them. That's pretty insane.
Yes, except that demon will want its payday at some point. It's like having a Rottweiler. There's nothing wrong with... They're beautiful dogs. But if you got a Rottweiler that guards your yard, it wants you to feed it.
Yeah. So how do you feed it? I mean, just out of curiosity. Do you give them dog food? Do you give them blood? Do you sell your soul? Do you make deals? What do they do?
You can the blood ritual. The blood has a lot of life. You give them life force. They're going to want your life force. And of course, the blood carries the life force, the most powerful. Therefore, all the creepy blood rituals, whether it's Abraham, God supposedly telling him to sacrifice his own son. That's very sick, of course. Or the sacrificing still thousands of lambs every year that the Muslims do around the Kaaba every year for the Hajj or whatever. I think it's the Hajj. We sacrifice innocence, life force. We're stealing life force. It's vampirus. It's like feeding on other beings. And again, it's all just a giant game in the universe of energy. But if you're an unconscious pawn in this, you're going to be drained and screwed over, basically. You're going to be used and thrown away. And that's your lesson, to wake up. And that happens in relationships and so forth. I mean, come on. Here in the Southwest, we have a lot of Hispanic influence. You go to the Hispanic stores, there's rows of, spell candles, Put spells on your lover to make sure they're tied to you. Okay, do you really want to do that? Or do you want to do the binding ceremony of the Celtic tribes? I plead my fealty and my fidelity and my love for you forever. Let's tie our hands together during the ceremony. Just because it's tradition, do you want to do that? If not, you're tying yourself to other beings. The marriage ritual is basically a use of alchemical and magical symbols in a binding ritual. The marriage ceremony, the way it is now, the vast, vast majorities of them are binding rituals. Now, if you called it that instead of marriage, but that's what marriage means. It means a coming together, a marry together, put together. Do you want that? Well, of course I do. Have you ever thought about it? No, it's just, I love the dress. I want the dress and the diamond. Okay, well, at that level of unconsciousness, you're going to reap some wake-up calls. It's called divorce. It's called alimony. It's called murder. Okay? And this is, the universe doesn't care how unconscious you are. You can be as unconscious as you want to be. But that doesn't mean you're not at the effect of these spiritual laws. You can say, I don't believe in gravity, and if you haven't mastered it, you step off the cliff, it will still affect you. So you can say, be careful what you bind yourself to, or be conscious of. Not be careful. Be conscious. Get conscious. So we are easily seduced by the power sometimes because we think, oh, I want money and sex. That's what we want, right? The unconscious human wants money and sex. That's it. That's
what it seems like it's about, huh? Yeah, money, sex, drugs.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Status, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get a little more advanced, you want power, status over others. Then you get a little more advanced, you want to help the world. You know, we progress up the scale. But the 80% of the people on the planet really just want money and sex. Now feel that for a minute. 80% of the people on this planet are just slaves to money and sex. That's pretty intense. So do you think it's safe to hand them, you know, psychic abilities and abilities to affect materiality by thinking about it, or, you know, having these magical powers that Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, etc. have? No. That's like handing matches to 3-year-olds or a flamethrower to a 5-year-old. So most people are in a very unconscious state about all this stuff. Because when you watch it, I just watched it recently with someone yesterday. She's like, I want the magic number so I can win the lottery. And, you know, God's like, okay, you know, you can play with that, but there's going to be a stone wall here because we're not going to let you misuse your powers again because you don't really want to. See, the soul knows that it doesn't really want to. The fearful, collapsed, fallen ego goes, yes, I'm willing to sell my soul for the $100 million giant super lotto. Right? And a few beings do that, but as you notice, the wake-up call is 2 years later, everybody's suing them, their family hates them, and they're alcoholic. Right? That's more often the case than not. So we're not very wise even. King Solomon was at the wisdom level where he could actually work with these entities. He could command them to literally lift those stones to build his temple. And, you know, that was his phase to go through. I suggest to people, well, whatever you want to explore. But if you want a planet that runs itself and enjoys and is nice to children and animals, and we don't pollute it and destroy it, I suggest you heal these darker aspects, these occult aspects, the suppressed aspects, the denial aspects in your own subconscious, in your own unconscious. And if you mess with the unconscious spirits in an unconscious way, you will get spiritual physics repercussions, which usually involve you being trapped by them. You get to be the slave masters, then you get to be the slave. That's usually how that works. And that's just spiritual physics, law of karma, law of balancing, you know. So there's nothing wrong with it, but, you know, you get what you get. And when you are freedom, like a Shiva, a Babaji, a Yogananda, sweetie pie, you know. Properties in LA, you know, and beautiful retreats and so forth. They don't push their stuff. They don't charge a lot of money. You know, they charge very, very little for the lessons. It's like, I don't know, $20 a year for a lesson every week. They're just covering postage. But even Yogananda, he had powers over the elemental kingdoms. One time they arrive at a house and it's pouring rain and he's wearing his silk orange robe, you know, at the time, which rain isn't that healthy for silk, you know. And they're like, oh, we forgot the umbrellas, you know, master. And he says, don't worry about it. And he literally creates a portal. It's raining like crazy, but they walk the 50 feet up to the door like there's a little tunnel of no rain. We are allowed to have these powers, but when Jesus has it, when Babaji has it, when the good-hearted, the non-fallen beings have it, they use it appropriately. The fallen way, the denial way, the fearful way, the ego way, you will create a fire that will end up burning yourself. And these things work for a season, but they're not lasting awakening. They're not lasting love, lasting peace. And the technical details of it are, feel those sigils and pentagrams. Now you can use good sexual magic too, for example. What's her name? Margot Anand, beautiful French woman, who has created a whole system of sexual magic. It all has to do with your intention. It all has to do with your intention, what you put out, what you...
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
News and information you can trust. This is American Freedom Radio. Freedom, American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
And thanks again for joining us here tonight. Last segment with Tobias Lars here on SoulJourneysRadio.com. And big topic. I'm afraid we didn't even scratch the surface of all we intended. So I hope that we can continue this topic next week. But again, Tobias is a personal awakening coach. His website is soulcounseling.com. And if you are unable to see him in person and you can't get enough during the shows, you can join him Sunday nights or afternoons, depending on where you are in the world. He's doing a teleseminar. I guess you can describe it better. I'll just call it a teleseminar over Skype, or anyone can join in. That is courseofawakening.com for details. And yeah, Tobias, you're hitting on some really good stuff here. And you brought up good sex magic, so I don't know if we could spend a few minutes on that and then maybe pick up all the rest next week?
So, yeah, I do a teleclass Sundays at 11 a.m. California time, 2 p.m. Right Coast time, East Coast time, and about 7 or 8 p.m. in Europe. And I think it's 11 in the morning or so the next day for Australians and New Zealand a little later. But we do an hour and a half or 2 hours of little more direct and personal sort of, you can just listen into whatever the topic is that presents itself. You can ask questions. And we just sort of have a communion, with each other, like a lot of laughing. Sometimes we're just laughing, like, so we're crying, which is really fun. We let spirit move. It's not just about mental understanding, but real healing, because that's what we need,
Yeah.
So, we can do a whole show on so I was saying the sigils, the actual symbols. Some schools out there will teach you to make your personal magic symbol, like what do you want to create. One way of doing it, for instance, you write down a statement, of whatever you want. And then you cross out all the vowels, and you're left with the consonants, And then from those consonants, you try to imagine you're making like a metal pendant. You put those consonants, you infuse it with your own, what you're wanting. But again, be careful what you ask for, as we've heard, right? And then if you use that symbol and infuse it with sexual energy, that tends to help materialize it too. Magic is just a tool. It can be used for good or bad. Is a knife good or bad? Is a gun good or... what is a human good or bad? The human can be very bad at times. It depends. So magic is just a deeper knowing of the mechanics of manifesting things, for example, or trapping energies, controlling energies, harnessing energies. Should we be breaking horses and put halters on them and controlling them? That's a form of controlling energy, domesticating animals, or basically owning them and breaking their spirits. You can do this. You're binding spirits, literally, with animals. You're binding them. They're not free. Now, yes, so you enslave them to do your work. Well, you can do that with spirits also. And the problem is you got to feed and care for them, like I said earlier. If you don't trust nature to take care of you, then if you don't trust the innocence to take care of you, to have the world take care of you, which is what every real master in my book ends up doing. Jesus didn't hold a job. He didn't build a temple. Babaji owns nothing. Osho used to say, I don't want any pockets in my robes because I don't want to own anything. I don't want anything. I just want to be me and be free. So it's our choice if you want to be a hoarder of energy. If you want to be a hoarder of energy, you'll end up this stuff owning you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I recommend the natural way. True abundance is that which I need in the moment is available to me. That which I need in the moment is whatever I want in the moment is available to me. Instead of hoarding stuff, we're actually a world of hoarders. We hoard money and objects. We have you'll drive out here in the Southwest, huge open expanses, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. You'll drive by some little tiny-ass town. On the outside of that town, there's like a storage facility. Look, where people store their crap that they never look at, that they forget they have. They quit paying the rent on their stuff. And then you have a TV show like Storage Wars. It's insane. We collect stuff. We are hoarders because we are not fully filled with God's love, source, energy, our own selves inside ourselves. So really a lack in thinking you need to hoard energy or control others' energy is considered a sickness on other star systems and a bunch of other star systems. It's that sickness of you feel unloved, you feel a lack in yourself, therefore you need to control others, or you need to have a partner that loves only me. You're only allowed to love me, right? Because you are lacking in loving yourself.
Is there something that can be done about that? Is there hope for people who, feel that they need to have power over others or hoard, spirits, energy, whatever, to play their games? Is there actually a clean, pure way out of that?
Because of free will, we can choose when to wake up or not to wake up, or how unconscious or conscious we want to be, which is a process. The universe will allow us the free will spirits. Not all spirits are free will. There are spirits in the galaxy that are not free will. But we are. Humans are free will spirits. And so we can choose this. And then just the spiritual physics of how things work is your wake-up call. You get the wake-up calls. If you push the pendulum one way, it comes back to hit you in the ass. It's like a swing. You push the swing. You ever watch little kids? They push the swing, and then it comes back and hits them in the head, and they start crying. Because they haven't realized yet, if I push it that way, it's going to come back this way, right?
Yeah.
And we think it's funny because we're sadistic humans. Right? Well, that's really all that's happening. We go, oh, I'll do this. I'll create this giant company and rule the world and have 10,000 people work for me, and now I'm depressed and my heart's not working, and, I need triple bypass. It's just, you can't outwit God. You can't fool Mother Nature. The spiritual physics of it is perfect. It's really a beautiful system. It's a very loving system. So it automatically, the only time you can help, you can suggest to people, but until people are ready, they learn the hard way by getting their ass kicked. Astrally, in this case, with the spirits. And it's perfect. It's just the way it should be. I work with people all the time and feel it and go, are they ready to hear? Or do they need the school of hard knocks? When you've had enough school of hard knocks, divorce, bankruptcy, cancer, death, murder, war, children dying, blah, 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 all horrible diseases, this, that, and the other, your lower body doesn't work at all, you're in a wheelchair. All these wake-up calls. Now, you can keep blaming God or the universe or just the body is just horrible and think that science is going to save it. You can keep doing that. but you'll create deeper and deeper hells for yourself, which is partially what's happening on the timeline on Earth right now. There's a bunch of people that go down worshiping scientism and avoiding their feelings and their physicality and their sexuality. They create a place that I don't want to be part of, but it's a journey that they're taking. The little gray ETs, the little Zeta Reticuli, are the end product of that. They're very creepy, collective, hive mind frequency that has lost complete touch with their emotions, and they don't reproduce sexually. And some of them are trying to come back into Earth. But anyway, so I recommend you start getting conscious. What do I really want? You know, what do I want with my energies here? There's black magic rituals all the time. I said marriage is a binding ritual, right? Marriage is a binding.
What?
It's a loving ritual. Yes, of course.
Speak it.
Yeah, it is a binding ritual. Now, often the love is pure, right? The love is, you feel this love and the love is pure, but you're not mature enough to actually know what to do with that. So 7 years later, you're hating each other, you know, and that's it. That's the pattern. That's the normal pattern for 80% of humans. Or they're just so freaked out that they just stay married because their church or their tradition says they have to, and they cheat on each other and blah, blah, blah.
Well, we tolerate each other. I mean, let's not find the real thing, because that would be too scary. We might be vulnerable. We're going to keep with something safe that looks good.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
You're listening to the future of talk. American Freedom Radio. This is American Freedom Radio.